and welcome to episode 176 of Gamers of the Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Antony Chesson, and joining me this week, he's completing the first Burgess triple of 2020. It's the king of controllers, Mr. Stuart Burgess. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
I'm also a Burgess triple. That sounds like a really nice sandwich.
Oh, it sounds like something they should be serving in Five Guys or something like that.
I don't know. It sounds
you
like
just walk in and go, I'll have a Burgess triple, please. And then there's like 3 patties of beef.
Yeah, it sounds like a nice sort of like pastrami or something. I did have a Five Guys last week. Oh, yeah, all this training and whatnot has made my stomach shrink because I had a bacon cheeseburger with Cajun fries, and at the end of it, I'm sitting there going, okay, I can't finish this, but it costs so much, I need to finish it.
You're there crying as you were eating it and stuff.
Yes.
Oh, man, that just sounds so good. That sounds so good. I'm on a diet right now because obviously holiday next week. So anything like that just kind of sounds so good. It just sounds so good. It's really funny because like the diet that I'm on right now, I'm just like really kind of watching kind of what I'm eating and stuff like that. But it makes me really appreciate food.
Yeah.
You know, like I made a roast dinner on Sunday, but I kind of really was cutting out a lot of butter on the chicken, you know, because normally I kind of like make a herby butter and stick it underneath the skin and all that sort of stuff, chucking loads of butter in on the roast potatoes at the end to really get them like golden brown and crispy. And I took all of that out, but it still was just bloody delicious, you know. I still was like, this is the best thing I've ever eaten, but it was just like one sausage in the sausage meatballs, you know, all that sort of stuff. I was really kind of cutting back on it, and no alcohol, and that was one thing I really missed. I missed my beer because when I'm cooking my roast dinner, I normally crack a can, some kind of like pale ale or IPA or something like that, and then I kind of listen to a podcast and cook the Sunday roast. And I was really missing, you know, fizzy water didn't really cut the mustard.
Doesn't do. Do you ever first one? Do you ever have the BrewDog AF is really nice, the alcohol free one, not their nanny state, but it's one of those. It's one of those bits. I sum it up to when I first had Guinness, which was the first one I had. I wasn't sure about, but I can actually drink the AF now, the BrewDog AF, and I don't miss it. And I had a proper beer. I had an alcohol beer at the weekend, and actually I liked it, but I didn't like it that much more than the AF. So, and then the other one was you talking about Yorkshire puddings. Do you ever watch James Martin on a Saturday morning?
Every week, yes.
When he did the roast potatoes at Christmas, where he did like, what was it? Was it goose fat? Then it was butter, and then it was olive oil, and it was his mum's. And then he because it was his mum's recipe, and then when he served them up, he smeared it in butter as well. And it's like, oh my god. That's a heart attack waiting to happen. That is.
Yes. I mean, I must admit, I not so much as a kind of alcohol-free, even though I'm cutting out kind of all that sort of stuff. I'm doing it more for calories than cutting out alcohol. But I had a gluten-free beer. I went into work. I went into London on Friday. So I still had a burrito, but I had a medium naked burrito rather than a large one. And I had a Gypsy Hill gluten-free. I think it's called Bandit.
Okay.
And that was really nice. It was really nice. It was a really nice beer as well, to the point where when I come back from holiday and I might kind of, you know, enjoy the beer every now and then because I want to kind of get back to this diet when I get back. I'm definitely going to buy some of those because I think they sell them in M&S and stuff like that. But it's Gypsy Hill Bandit. It's called. It's a Bandit, but it's gluten free, and it just kind of because I shouldn't really kind of drink as much beer as I normally drink because of the kind of wheat into, you know, and all of that. But having this gluten free beer, I was just like, it's really nice. It was really nice.
Well, I did one of those last year. I did one of the beer clubs, you know, one of the ones they send through a case every month, and and they were okay, but I just found it made me drink more. You know, it made they're sitting there and they were just like, oh, you know, let's try this one, let's try that one, and I actually found, I mean, Steve's probably swearing at us now, going, that's the point, you're supposed to try different beers, but I just found that my beer intake went up, and I'm not a huge beer drinker. I enjoy a beer every now and again, but I'd rather sit down and have a glass of wine or something like that with dinner. So, but no, the AF BrewDog AF I've really enjoyed, and it just going into some of the supermarkets now, or you know, and some of the smaller shops, you know, you've got so many beer selections, just like you've got your wine selection now, even alcohol free. You know, you go into Sainsbury's and you've got, you know, there's you know, if you like your lagers, you know, there's so many different types of lagers, like your Budweiser, Prohibition, And then you've just got your Beck's Blue, but there's so many other sort of people like Brewdog who are doing some really nice alcohol-free or very, very low alcohol. Can't still do alcohol-free wine. I've tried alcohol-free red wine. It just Ribena tastes better.
Right. I've never gone that far.
Oh, I can't even say the word now. Red wine, it just tastes like a very poor Ribena.
Yes. Holy moly. Did I tell you the other week? I don't know if I shared on the pod the other week, but I froze some wine a couple of weeks ago. I did, that made me chuckle every time I think about that just big bag. I mean, if anyone looked at my freezer, there was just a big freezer bag of it looked like blood.
I was going to say, it looked like something out of Dexter.
It really did. It was like I was just saving it just in case I was doing some woodworking or something and I needed some blood quite quickly. But anyway, how else is your week? What else have you been up to? How's your week been?
Really good, actually. I've had last week after we podded. When was it? It was, I can't remember when it was now. I think it was the Thursday. I went up to London. Went up to London on the Thursday and went up there for a dealer event, which I'll get onto. But first of all, got it a little bit early because the trains can be all over the place. So I thought, I want to get to London and I want to get there, in plenty of time, because the thing we were going on to was like, you've got to be here at this time for health and safety, otherwise you might not be able to go in. So got there about 2 hours early, so wandered up to the Apple store in Covent Garden, went over and got some food in Covent Garden from Five Guys, and then I ended up going into Razor's store, their new store. So I was invited to the launch before Christmas, I think it was, but it was a Saturday and I couldn't go, unfortunately. But I just sort of stuck my head in. It's just outside Leicester Square on the main sort of road up to Tottenham Court Road.
Okay.
But yeah, not massive shop. It's not Apple type size, but holy moly, they've got some serious kit in there.
Really?
Yeah, just I was talking to Manny, I think it was on the WhatsApp group. Just the laptops, obviously had the Razer 17-inch Razer blades were just absolutely stunning. 4K, $4,000.
Wow.
But yeah, they just had a really good selection of stuff there. Then they sort of had a section which was all laptops, and then they had a load of sort of keyboards. There's some really cool gaming keyboards in there, and then some other peripherals like headphones and things like that. The obligatory clothing section as well at the back. But then when you went downstairs, they had a massive sort of esports bit.
Oh, wow. Wow. So similar to Microsoft,
similar to Microsoft, more not so much, obviously, because Microsoft have got the Xbox, set up on some screens there, but it was more the gaming PC side of it. But yeah, you can go down there and you can just, if there's one available, you can just use one of the Razer PCs and basically use it to game. So there was I think there was probably about 8 or 10 stations down there, fully kitted out with nice comfy gaming seat and headphones and a nice PC, but yeah, really worth a visit. I mean, I think it's their first shop they've opened in Europe, and I've always been a fan of Razer, but actually being able to go in there and pick up even their entry level laptops, definitely the next purchase when I change my PC over will probably be a Razer one. I really thought they were good.
Wow, that's just so cool. I might have to check that out when I'm in London.
Yeah, just
kind of have a mosey over one lunchtime, because it sounds like it's good to have a nose round. I get Nicola to block my credit cards before I kind of go in, just in case. I'm like, I come home with a big Razer bag full of goodies. Well, but that sounds really cool.
I came home with a Razer bag, but it had ironically it had a case for my iPhone in it, because I went to get a new case for my iPhone Pro, and I just didn't like the ones that had an Apple, and they had a really nice Razer one. And then I actually bought the Jungle Cat, which is the the Jungle Cat is their Switch style controllers that you basically put the Razer phone in the middle. I think it worked. Okay. They are releasing one that works with iOS apparently soon, which the guy in there says they've played with and it's really good. But yeah, it's sort of I bought one off of Amazon, which was a bit sort of cheap Chinesey, and it was a bit cumbersome and a bit big. But they had this there set up to play. I think you could play like Asphalt or something like that on it from the Android store, and it felt like the Switch, but just smaller, a bit more compact.
Oh, wow.
Definitely something that felt like you could slide it in your pocket and just take it with you on the train. Mm. So no, that I bought that, had a quick go on that, but because xCloud doesn't work that well at home. Because of my internet speed, I generally have to try it when I'm here or elsewhere where I've got a decent signal, because I've only got, like I think you've got with your Android phone, you're only using it on Wi-Fi because you've got no SIM in it.
Yes.
But no, really, really good. I'm going to have a bit more of a play with that, and I'll report back. But so far, so good. It plays really well.
That's really cool. That sounds cool. So, like I say, kind of getting ready for xCloud, or as xCloud's there already, on Android. I just kind of. Do you reckon that's going to be E3 when they kind of iOS it? They kind of announce it's from iOS. There's got to be.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Because whenever I see an xCloud tweet, it's just you look at kind of that. All you see is when's it coming to iOS? iOS question mark.
Yeah.
When are you releasing it on iOS? So the pressure's there for whenever Phil tweets something about xCloud, you just look at the other tweets, and it's just people are just kind of clambering for iOS.
Yeah, I think. And they can't not be looking at it, but I think, as we've said before on the pod, I think it's just Android is a much more open platform. They can pull analytics off of it probably a lot easier than they could off of an iPhone, I assume. So I think they want to get it sorted, and they want to get it sort of beta tested fully on the Android devices, and then I would imagine they'll go back to the beginning and knock it out on iOS within Microsoft, test it within the halls of Microsoft first, and then push it out, because I know like Major Nelson, he often says about he's got the new iPhone when the new iPhone comes out. So, a lot of them at Microsoft, at Xbox, are using iOS devices. So I think it's coming. I just think they'll take their time. They've already set out the stall to say, we're not in a rush. This is several years in development. So hopefully we'll see it this year, but it wouldn't surprise me if we don't.
It'll be something that they'll bring it out of beta first, and then maybe they'll bring it out of beta, and then, like you say, then they have a solid, 1.0 launch, app ready for launch, and like I say, but I mean, I have other apps that are kind of beta. We have like the X Pass, we have Game Pass and Quests, and an event as well. I think I've got probably about 3 Microsoft, Xboxy kind of all in kind of beta. So, and they all kind of push those out by Flight. I think is it Flight or something like that?
Test Pilot.
Yeah, Test Pilot. That's it. So they do have experience in kind of doing Apple betas. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe they'll be like, right, we know you want it, because that's what Microsoft's all about at the moment, isn't it? It's like, we know you want it, so here it is. We're not holding back. Here you go. But yeah, it's just, I can't wait. I can't wait to just be able to play xCloud. I know it's available now, but like I say, it was funny. The other day I was coming back from Manchester. And I was trying to watch Picard. I was trying to watch episode 2 of Picard.
Oh yeah.
And for some reason I kind of kicked it off at work, and I think our work internet had a bit of a blip, so it didn't download, from Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So it didn't download. So I was like, fine, it's okay. I'm on trains, and literally from Manchester all the way to Tunbridge Wells on Avanti, and then whatever train it is that we have, I could not stream that episode. I know I'm on a tube flying through the country, but at the same time, both of them had Wi-Fi. You join Avanti public Wi-Fi on the train, you join the Southeastern trains Wi-Fi. So I joined both those Wi-Fi, but I could not. And then the moment I stepped in my door, I got a ping on my watch going, Picard, episode 2 is ready for you. It took literally like 2. I hadn't even got my shoes and my jacket off, and I got a ping on my phone saying Picard is ready for you to watch. And I was like, oh, dagnabbit. So xCloud doesn't stand a chance, on that at the moment. But it's really good because 5G is coming. I think Huawei is going to help 5G come as well in the UK.
Well, that's what they're saying, isn't it? Although that's a bit up in the air. Talking about, I just want to do a shout out actually for a friend of mine. He talking about Amazon Prime. A mate of mine who I've known for years sort of has put himself into a few years ago. Put himself into sort of like the short film, doing short films.
Right.
He's got a company called United Magic, and if you've got Amazon Prime, go and have a look at it's 11 minutes long. It's a short film called Gunmetal Max.
Right,
and it's they're all based over Worthing way down in the southeast, but it's a real sort of like, it's about a kid who's got a doll, like a G.I. Joe type of thing, but this robot called Gunmetal Max, I suppose more Transformery, and it's basically just a very short 11-minute film about how it comes alive and wants to basically fight the bad guys and save Earth, and it's just one of those great little films where it just shows you that, you know, there's so much imagination out there in people who just make these short movies. And
yes,
I can't remember what now, but I think he's won a couple of little movie awards with it and things like that. So just a shout out to Johnny and the guys at United Magic. Go and have a look. It's quite good. I hope someone picks it up and green lights it to make a longer movie out of it, because it could be quite a cool movie. So
awesome. I'll stick a link in the show notes as well.
Thank you. But
excellent stuff.
Yeah, so apart from that, after going to Razer, I went with one of my suppliers, our good friends at 1AV, and we went and did the Crystal Maze experience.
Nice.
Which was amazing. That's obviously in central London, just off of Piccadilly Circus,
right.
And that was what the name says. So it was basically based on the 80s, I think. Was it 80s Crystal Maze? I think it was 80s.
80s, 90s,
something like that. I mean, obviously it's been rebought back now for a season or two, but that was really, really good. That was there was a load of us there. We got split into teams of 6 or 7. And then we basically went and played the Crystal Maze. So you did the whole. For anybody who's not ever seen the Crystal Maze, watch it, especially the original, because it's very funny. But you basically, one of you gets put into a game. You don't know what the game is. There's a door, and then basically your quizmaster will go, okay, so the next game is a skill game. What I'm going to tell you is, when you go in there, you've got to do X, Y, and Z. So, right, Captain, who do you want to play this skill game? So, one of you gets locked in the room, and you have a certain amount of time to do it. And then your colleagues are basically looking through the window, shouting at you to basically help you or hinder you with what you've got to do. The idea is you've got to do something. So I somehow got all the physical ones.
Right.
So I ended up having to cross this. Put these skulls down, step on the skulls because the floor was lava.
Right.
Then wind this handle to put this cradle up, then climb across this wall, run across this bridge, grab the crystal, and then basically get out again before the timer run out with the crystal in your hand. And then the idea of the game is you go through 4 different zones, and then at the end you get to go in the crystal maze, and each crystal is worth 10 seconds, I think it is. And then however many crystals is however long you stay in the crystal maze, and then you basically collect gold tickets. So
right.
They took us round twice, so I think...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it took us round twice, and then we got the crystal maze at the end, which is a massive sort of like you're inside the crystal for people who've not seen it. They in there you just basically have the gold ticket. So in the TV you have gold and silver, and whatever silver you have gets deducted. But yeah, I mean, it was... Oh, my God. I mean, we got there at 4, and I think I legged it out of there at 9 o'clock.
Wow.
Because I had 35 minutes to get on the hourly train that I could get back that stops where I live.
Right.
So, but yeah, brilliant. Really, really, really good. So much fun.
That sounds awesome. That just sounds like so much. That sounds like such a great team building.
Yeah,
thing.
Definitely. If you're in a job where you've got a team of people and you want a Christmas do, this is not publicity. This is general opinion. It's great. I mean, I don't know how it works with fewer people, but there was a good 50, 60, 70 of us maybe, and as a distributor sort of funded thing, and it was just brilliant. So I mean, as a Christmas do or as team bonding thing, brilliant, such a good laugh. And then went back to the bar area afterwards. open bar. Only had one drink because I was driving, and then some canapes and some nice food, some tapas and that. And yeah, really good, really good, really convenient being in central London.
Yeah, how many people were in your team, in your crew?
I think there was 7 in ours. So some had 6, some of them had 7. So we all got 2 games. We all got two games, and then there was a couple of us who got an extra game afterwards. So I think I did 4 games and got 3 crystals. No, I did 5 games and got 4 crystals, I think. And the one I didn't get the crystal on was one of these ones where you had like a honeycomb, like a beehive honeycomb sort of structure, and you're sliding in these things from the back. You can't see what's on them. But you can't match the pizza. You can't have like 2 spaceships together, or 2 people together, or 2 aliens together. And we just run out of time trying to work it out. But yeah, I mean, Simon, who works with me, he had a massive set of massive set of sort of pliers, and he had to take out body parts outside of this out of this alien's body that was being can't think of the word now, but in the mortuary, he basically had to take the heart out and then basically pick up the heart with these massive set of pliers and then put it in another alien that was through in a cage, but the alien was slightly tipped back, so it wasn't as easy as it seems. Yes. But it was just. Yeah, I was slightly apprehensive at the beginning. Was sort of like, I'm not sure if I want to do this. It looks like it's going to be good fun, but my God, it was absolute hilarious. So much fun. I really do recommend it.
That sounds so cool. I might have to check that out because it just sounds like so much fun. Oh yes. So I bet you were knackered after that. Going on the train coming home, I bet you were like,
yeah, it was. And also having a Five Guys beforehand, I was already lethargic before I even started.
You kind of slept all the way home, and that was just like so. Yeah, that's just so cool.
No, it was really excellent good stuff. What have you been up to? Anything?
No, nothing much for me actually. I've been kind of just getting ready for my holiday. So we've been. I tell you, it was hilarious on Saturday. So on Saturday, I was like, right, I'm going to start organising T-shirts and stuff like that, you know, for packing. So we got the suitcases out and all that sort of stuff. So they're kind of ready to be packed this weekend. And so I was like, right, I'm going to start organising my T-shirts. And at some point, I was just like, because I've got one of those Sheldon T-shirt folding things. So normally,
you haven't, have you?
I have, because it's the best way to fold T-shirts.
I know, I agree. Like you were meaning to try and get one.
And it's just like so the problem is with my drawers. I'm a very tidy person, but as Nicola will attest, you know, my drawers are not the tidiest because I kind of going, oh, I want that Ghostbusters tee. Where's my Ghostbusters? And then by that time, I've just destroyed my entire drawer. So what I did was on Saturday, I was like, right, what teas am I going to take on holiday? And I just ended up tipping all of my teas out onto the bed. I then went to the wardrobe, tipped all the wardrobe out, so got everything out, and I just went on the mass organising spree. Like Nicola came up the stairs and she was just like looking, going, "What the hell are you doing?" Like this. I'm like, I'm organising my tea. So I was there. So I threw some away, maybe some that had holes in or stuff. I took a whole bag of to charity, even some unopened kind of Dark Bunny teas from way back when. I had some ones from Force Awakens, and I had some T-shirts that I didn't even know they were at the back of the wardrobe. They were still in packs. They weren't open, so I put those into the charity bag, and that kind of went off to there. There were some really cool teas that went off to the charity bag, and then I threw some away. But then I sat there and organised all my drawers and my wardrobe, and now I'm just like, I just keep opening the drawers and the wardrobe because I'm just so proud at how tidy everything is. It was just, it's just so lovely. I went to bed that night feeling that my wardrobe and drawers around me were just kind of a lot tidier. It just felt so nice.
So it sounded like you were. I would say you were sparking joy, weren't you?
Absolutely. I Maria Kondo'd the hell out of my drawers, and then like Nicola didn't need to do hers because hers was already tidy. But it was just like, but it was just so much fun. I just like. But the funniest thing was, like I say, it was when Nicola came up and she was like, "You're really supposed to grab like a couple of teas," and there's me like, you couldn't see me for this pile of T-shirts, and I just crammed into these chest of drawers. So yeah, so it's good fun. So I've only got 5 days until I go on holiday.
Wow.
So which is exciting. Which reminds me, is that the while I'm on holiday, the Less Spark podcast is also going to take a holiday. So this one's the first one until I think we're back on the week of the 24th, aren't we? So we're going to take a couple of week break, and then we'll be back on the 24th.
Yeah, you're out for 2 weeks. I'm out next week. I'm over in Amsterdam next week. So yes, on a business do, in inverted commas, business. Yeah,
a business.
I've not got I've not got a party in my diary every night of that week. I've definitely.
Oh my
not.
goodness!
No, definitely not.
You'll be a shell of a husk of a man by the Friday.
Yeah, tell me about it. That's why I'm working out so much now. I'm trying to burn like you with this Disney in America. I'm trying to burn the calories off now.
Yes.
You know, if I could shed 500 or 600 calories a day, it means I can eat 500 or 600 calories worth of chips while I'm out there.
But the good thing is that you'll be walking so much as well, like kind of like circulating, and that's the good thing about it. So I'm hoping I won't put on too much weight when I get back. And also, it's about 32 degrees out there, so I'm gonna sweat it off anyway. So which is good fun. But anyway, let's jump into what we've been playing. Stu, what have you been playing this week?
I took a sort of hint from last week, to be honest. I found myself playing a Battlefront 2 again over the weekend, just jumping in and playing around doing that. But actually, on Monday, I jumped back into Doom 2016. And I just did the usual, which I like to do, which was I played it 6 months or so probably after it came out, and I got a couple of hours into it, and I just sort of, I'm not sure, something must have come out, I'm not sure, but I just dropped off of it. I just wasn't feeling it. I think it might have been I was playing it for the sake of playing it rather than playing it because I wanted to play it. But I downloaded it again at home. Actually, I think at home it was already on there. I think here at the office I've downloaded it again. But I just jumped in, new game, start again, left the old save on there but didn't go back to it. And just got into it straight away. Took my time this time to read everything that was coming up on the screen. To follow what they say about doing the glory kills, and every time you picked up something again. And I've only played it for a couple of hours, but if for some reason it's just clicking now. So I'm looking forward to. Typically, I'm not going to get to play it much. It's not on Game Pass. It's not on xCloud, is it? No,
I think it might be. I think it might be.
I might be taking my my razor with me to Amsterdam.
Do you know what? There's something that makes I know Gears is, I know Halo is. There's something that makes me think that I was testing out Doom. I know they've just added a whole new batch of stuff as well, haven't they? Frostpunk and all of that into xCloud. So
I'll have to have a look.
Something makes me think that maybe it might be, but don't take my word for it.
But
it's good though, isn't it? It's good. It's like when you start getting into that groove of like meleeing them or shooting them until they flash, and then slide in, melee them, getting all your kind of shields. Because later on, that you kind of realise you're looking around the map, and you see that you've got no health at all, and you can't see any health pickups. And the only way to do that is you've got to get in there. You've got to get in the middle, shoot them, wait for them to flash, and then just kind of get in there with the melee. And by the end of that game, I really loved that rhythm that I had with every kind of boss and every enemy. It was just so good. It was so much fun.
And this is I think I mentioned it last week as well. I'm playing it on the new TV, so 4K OLED, and it does look so much shinier. I mean, it looks good. It looked good on my 4K LED TV before, but just because it's an OLED screen, just a lot deeper, a bit more vibrant. But no, I'm really really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to as we pop now. It's 20 to 8. And I'm sort of looking forward to getting home and having a bite to eat, and then just probably sitting down and playing, because although I've got to set up for an exhibition tomorrow, I've not got a huge quick start to the day because can't be there till midday, so I don't have to get up at stupid o'clock and go to London. So I might jump on and play a few hours tonight when I get and put the headphones on, because the girls are in bed probably. So but I don't know what it is. I think I'm looking forward to Doom Eternal more now. And I think chatting about it last week has sort of made me think, actually, I didn't finish it. I want to go back and play it and really get a feel for it, because actually that's the first game coming up this year that I'm actually looking forward to playing.
Yeah, and it just doesn't disappoint. It really doesn't disappoint. It just keeps going throughout the whole game. When you go to certain areas and unlock certain areas, I remember there was just a moment in that game when my jaw was dropping. And I think I was playing it on the OLED, but I don't think I played it on my older TV, my older 4K, and it was just jaw dropping. That was a game where I used to kind of wait until I kind of got the big TV time rather than kind of playing it on the smaller TV, because that was one that you just kind of, it was just so good, and because it runs at 60 frames a second as well, doesn't it? So it's just so smooth as well, so it's just, I love that game so much.
No, it's to say, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Not hugely into it yet, and annoyingly I'm busy all weekend at a show, and then off to Amsterdam next week, so I might not jump back into it. So it's lucky we're not podding next week, because I'll probably play even less than I played this week. But no, I'm enjoying it. But what about yourself? Are you still playing your game from last week?
I am indeed. I'm still on the rap physics game, so I'm still doing. I am now 14 hours into A Plague's Tale, and I am on the final event of that game. Unfortunately, that final event of the game is a bugger.
Oh, really?
And it is really kind of challenging me at the moment. So I was playing it the other night. I ended up kind of, because I've been listening to the game throughout the entire time, I ended up at one point just taking my headphones off, because it was just... The dialogue obviously was repetitive because it's going through the same thing, but it was also just like stressing me out, so I was just trying to do it. But I didn't play too much yesterday, so that was Monday night when I got to the end. So like I say, about 14 hours into this game, and then I was in Manchester yesterday, so I didn't get home until late because the trains were up the spout.
I was going to say, did you have any issues? I heard there was loads of trouble getting into Charing Cross, wasn't there? Because I was thinking about it yesterday morning.
I was on a train that was late, slow, and packed like sardines. So the guy next to me, every time he texted, I could feel his phone like hitting my chest every time, and it was just like, it was just freaking me out. At one point, I was just gonna, you want to just try and break free.
Yeah.
So I've been playing this. I really like this game. This game has the story kind of has kept going. The challenges, the puzzles are just great fun, and I've really enjoyed it all the way through. But there's something about, and it's not deterring from any of my fun, but this last boss is just kind of a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
It kind of can't really call it a boss, but it's an event. It's just a little bit tricky. I need to kind of time some things, and I panic. That's my problem, because I know that I've got to do this, do that, do this, do that. I'm starting to panic. So I've got half of it as muscle memory, or I say I did have half of it on Monday as muscle memory. But I kind of feel like a good couple of hours or even an hour. I'll probably fire it up after this pod, and I'll probably do it first time.
Probably,
But it was cleaning my clock, and I was like, no, I'm just going to come away. And we ended up watching some TV or something. We're watching a program called Outsiders.
Oh, okay, which I've heard about
new to Sky Atlantic. It's a Stephen King book, so it's a Stephen King kind of TV show, and it's really good at the moment. So we've watched 3 episodes, and the 3 episodes so far are just like absolutely fantastic. So we ended up watching that instead. So I went to bed with rap physics and kind of weird Stephen King stuff in my brain, and then I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning, so which was lovely. But yeah, I like I say, A Plague's Tale. We were talking about it last week. It's in Game Pass. I'd highly recommend it because the story's great. The like I say, the stealthy mechanics are simple, but enjoyable, and there have been some really good kind of set pieces that are just kind of absolutely fun to play.
Yeah, no, I did have a typically I did switch the Xbox on the other day, and it goes, there's an update to be done, and I'm like, again, you're supposed to update when you're turned off. So I did the update, and then I had a bit of a perusal around, and that was one of the first games that I downloaded, because I thought, okay, I'm going to hit that, download that. Because after your glowing recommendation last week, I thought that's definitely one I want to jump into.
Like I say, it's just so good. Like I say, the story has kept going. I think I was only about 6 hours in last week, I'm about 14, 15 hours in now, and I'm just like, it hasn't dipped. There's been nothing where I'm like, oh, just come on, finish. It has just kept going, and it has been, as long as I finish it before I go away, this has been the game that I was looking for.
Excellent.
That kind of that couple of weeks keep me interested, keep that all kind of there, and A Plague Tale has definitely kind of been that game. So I'm looking forward to rolling credits, hopefully before the end of the weekend. So it's and then I'll be
before you go away, and it doesn't
before I go away.
Yeah, it's not annoying you for 2 weeks whilst you're not in the country.
I don't think that's on Game Pass, but I would just on the xCloud, so I would just kind of have to do that. And I've already got my Switch games already, so I'm kind of ready to go. So so that's all I've been playing really this week. So I just kind of stayed to that when I was gaming.
Excellent. I as I said, over Christmas or whatever, I was getting back into Battlefield. I always get to Battlefront 2.
Yes.
And I was a bit impulsive the other day on the Star Wars thing, and I've got a new child on the way.
Right.
So apparently it's coming in somewhere between August. It's actually August and January now. Excellent.
Right.
But I saw this on social media with I think they'd given one to the podcast guy Rich Roll, but it's a life-size figure called the Child of Baby Yoda.
Oh my god, it's just so cool. It broke Sideshow Collectibles website.
Yeah, I know.
So when they announced it, when they launched it, so they launched on Twitter on I think it might have been when I was going to Manchester, but they launched on Twitter and they broke their website. Yeah. Their website was broken. It was just like Jon Favreau really knew what he was doing, didn't he, when he kind of created Baby Yoda?
It is. I've got it up on the website now. Well, we'll put a link into it, but it's a life size. Whether you can call it life size, I'm not quite sure, but it's
we can, because that's how big Baby Yoda is.
Well, I
so
suppose,
life size.
but he's not real. Oh, well, did they actually make him out of it? They did make him out of a...
that's the whole point.
It's a puppet, wasn't it?
They had a puppet throughout the entire filming, and then Hertz Warner basically said, because they were going to replace it with CGI, and they went, don't replace it with CGI, kind of keep that, you cowards, I think he called Disney, and they were like, well, we'll show you and we'll do this. And I think half the magic is that, and I love that he kind of Baby Yoda, the figure comes with like a little it comes with the knob that he took off of the Mandalorian's kind of like gear stick in the ship, so he's there like screwing it off, and he has that in his hand, and I just thought that was just absolutely adorable.
But no, I've no idea where I'm going to put this, but it's in pounds, it's £276, but that's not. I'm going to get import duty on that easily. But it's
how can they stick duty on Baby Yoda? You just show them what it is, and they'll be like, okay, we won't give you any import duty.
But it's
too cute.
It's 420 millimeters high. So, I'm not. I've got a feeling it's going up here. It's going to end up in the den room or the office, because I don't think my wife is going to let me have this in the house.
Right. You just need to put it in like a little. We need to put it in like a little display case or something like that, and just like have it in the corner.
So, but no, I will. When I get, I think they're saying my one at the moment is estimated somewhere between August and October. So, I will post it up when I do have it.
That's really interesting, actually, because Disney this week announced that season 2 of Mandalorian is coming in October.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I think we've got, what was it they released, because during the Super Bowl, that we're not allowed to talk about because it makes James cry, but during the Super Bowl they had a really cool advert for the MCU. So they had an advert which basically showed the Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, and it also showed, what's the other one there? So you got that and also Loki as well. So it was about a minute long, and it looked fantastic. But so what they're saying is that they released today is that August Falcon and Winter Soldier's coming, October Mandalorian's coming, and then December WandaVision comes in December. So that just kind of, we get Disney Plus a week earlier now. They've moved it forward a week, so it's now the 20th of March, I want to say, but they've definitely it's the 17th of March now. So we now get it a week earlier. So it's like, so I'm hoping that when they do release it in this country on the 17th of March, it just comes with all of Mandalorian. It's just there. All 8 episodes, all 8 chapters are just there.
I'm hoping also they do some of because they were doing some stonking offers in America. Like if you signed up for 3 years, you got it at like something like $3.99 a month or something like that. So I'm keeping an eye on that. So, but talking about the Super Bowl, not mentioning the Super Bowl, did you see the Bill Murray advert, the Jeep advert? That's just genius, absolute genius.
Whoever came up with that needs a raise. I tell you, whoever was just like, because it was just fantastic. It was just such a great advert. It was just really cool.
I always, always the next day, I always go onto YouTube and search for the adverts from the Super Bowl. But
yes,
I did. Who, like, call me ignorant, but who was James supporting in this Super Bowl?
San Francisco 49ers, the losing team.
Okay. I thought for some reason he was supporting the Chiefs. Sorry, James.
Well, no, because then he'd be happy and not crying.
Well, I was slightly confused the next day because I thought people were going to be happy that they won, but no one was talking about it. It was just like, oh, okay.
I watched the first quarter and then fell asleep.
I didn't even make it onto BBC One. I was watching the build up on BBC Two, and then just fell asleep and woke up, and I'm like, oh, it's 3:00 in the morning. Oh, I've missed that.
I stuck it on my iPad in bed, and then I was woken by the iPad hitting me in the face because I fell asleep. So I was like, okay, I'm going to bed now. So yeah, I thought it was good. What I watched was good. But like I say, there were some really good ones. They also had a trailer for the new Black Widow movie as well, and that just looks that's looking better and better and better every time we kind of get another one. So just can't wait for that. But anyway, let's jump into the news. But before we jump into the news, don't forget you can rate, review and subscribe to this very podcast for free on iTunes, Spotify and also on YouTube. In this week's news, PlayStation 5 gets a website launch, Nvidia gets a game service launch, and also Xbox Quest gets a refresh. But Stu, the first piece of news, sir, is with you.
So first bit of news with me is about the PlayStation 5. So the PS5 official website launches, but don't expect much from it quite yet. Yesterday, Sony had announced the PlayStation 5. Sorry, not yet. So Sony has announced the PlayStation 5 is launching this year, and as of yesterday, the company opened the PS5's official website. The dedicated site landing page does not feature any details yet. In fact, it doesn't feature anything much really, but it does offer a sign up for the newsletter and a promise of announcements to come. Quoting, "We've begun to share some of the incredible features you can expect for the PlayStation 5, but we're not quite ready to fully unveil the next generation of PlayStation," the page reads. Sign up below and be among the first to receive updates as we announce them, including news on PS5 release date, PS5 price, and the upcoming roster of PS5 launch games. It also shows the fancy new PS5 logo, the one they've used every year since, but no other information as of yet. So it's a tentative launch, but not much yet.
See, for me, like when I saw this last night, when I kind of posted it as we had a bit of a chat in kind of amongst the other sparks, it was like, does this mean that this is a placeholder? Does this mean that today, of the 5th of February, that we're going to start getting kind of more information that they're going to start inviting? Because I think if they're going to, we're at a crossroads now where no one knows what Sony's going to do next. It's really interesting. As much as I'm loving this kind of next gen console launch, right now we're just a complete guessing game. Yeah. And I guess if you're Sony or you're Microsoft, Nintendo have come out this week. It didn't make our news, but Nintendo have come out this week and said there's no new Nintendo consoles for 2020, which is good. We can breathe a sigh there. We don't have to keep worrying that there's going to be a Switch Pro, that we know that's kind of out there. Even though I think the day they said that there's not going to be any more consoles, they then released a special edition, gorgeous edition, Animal Crossing. So we but I know what they mean, where there's going to be no Switch Pro this year. There's going to be no revision. But Sony and Microsoft have got us guessing. Sony and Microsoft have got us on our toes. And I love talking about it every week, and we probably will just keep talking every week. But if they're going to, so they're at a crossroads, because if they're going to invite press to New York, to the Sony Theatre, in Times Square, they've got to give press time, and you can bet your bottom dollar the moment they send out those invites, those invites will be on Twitter.
Yeah.
So and I haven't seen. I always kind of have a quick check before jumping into the pod. I haven't seen anyone saying that they've got anything yet. But you couldn't just go, right, Stuart, we need you in New York tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're going to have to give you a week, 2 weeks to kind of do that. So that's if they unveiled it in front of the press. They could, however, just make a big song and dance and stick a YouTube direct up onto YouTube. They could just go, here you go, here is our PlayStation 5, and that's it. And whether you had a whole bunch of journalists, influencers in a room, or whether that was online right now, you're going to get the same traffic, the same coverage on that. I think what we need to understand, and one of the things I've been kind of listening to a lot of podcasts, and one of the things that people don't seem to understand is that it isn't. I don't see Sony and Microsoft playing by their old rule book anymore.
No.
So when people are going, well, there's got to be a launch because they announced the PlayStation 5 on the 5th of February at 4:00, so they're going to do this at 5. That rule book's out the window now, because we've seen that from Sony. Yeah. They're not at E3, they do their own directs, they do all of that, and they're seeing just as much traction for that as they are for if they spent thousands, millions of pounds getting people at the Sony theatre to just show them, and because we don't need to be hands-on right now, we need to be hands-on in the summer, with all these titles. If Sony just went, here you go, here's the PlayStation 5, here's what it looks like, here's our 10 launch games, that's going to go bananas, and any coverage site that covers that after that is also going to go bananas, because we want to know what everybody thinks. We want to know what Greg Miller, we want to know what Giant Bomb, we want to know what Eurogamer think of that, Digital Foundry, we want to know what the Lost Sparks think about it. So we're all going to kind of just jump on that and talk about it, but we don't have to be there. Do you know what I mean? So I just kind of feel that those guys are just sitting back and going, yeah, let's just let them talk about it, because the more we talk about it, this week's thumbnail is probably going to be that PlayStation 5 logo on their website, because it's good news.
The thing is, it is one of those things that they. I think Microsoft did it good in actually looking back on it now. I think they did it really good in respects of doing it at the Game Awards, because they used that massive audience, and in a way it's a bit sort of, it's a bit of a shame that Sony haven't got something to come out like that where they've already got the massive audience there. They could just do it. But no, I mean, I think. Was it the PlayStation 4 when they launched that? It was a bit of a, to want of a better term, a bit of a wet fart of a launch. It was it was a bit of a people just sitting in a room and they just reeled. I remember them doing something and reeling something else, and it was a bit sort of like, this is what it looks like, that's what it looks like. But it wasn't like an event. It was almost like a very formal, suited and booted sort of event. It wasn't you're here for the gamers, come up and play it, because no one could actually play it. So that does then lead me to the fact of, okay, well, if they're not doing E3 and they're not going to do something around E3, then actually, why not just do it as a viral and send it out as a viral thing, and it just drops, because as soon as it drops, it's going to be in everybody's inbox.
And that's it. They've already said that they're going to do 100 stops this year. They're going around, so why spend millions? Naively, I didn't realise in order to set up something at E3 it cost millions. It cost millions. So rather than doing that, they are going to go from town to town in America. So that's what they need to do right now. If Sony just went, boom, here you go, here's what the PlayStation 5 looks like, here's the DualShock 5, here's all those games, show a really in-depth sizzle reel, a really nice direct. They did a nice direct, I think, last time. Show a real cool sizzle reel. Then when they do, and at the end of it, going, right, you can now register for this PlayStation event coming to your town. Unfortunately, it will only probably be just in North America, but coming to your town, register now. That site would crash. That site would crash harder than the Baby Yoda site, if that's what they did. And that's taking it straight to the people that are going to give them cash, rather than people that are going to just pore over every detail and make fun of it, or have derogatory comments about it. It's going to go take it straight to the gamers, straight to the people that kind of are excited about PS5 and want to play it. And I can see Sony just going that way. When they do it, I just don't know, because like I say, both Sony and Microsoft, they've just, I half expected to wake up on Monday morning and there'll be a PlayStation 5 advert during the Super Bowl, because that's ballsy, that's a move, and it was just like, or as Jennifer Lopez came up from the stage, she was holding the PlayStation 5 console, and then, who knew, it was just, but I expected to maybe see some PS5 presence, but I'm sure when they do it, we're going to go bananas and it's going to be a big thing.
Yeah, because I mean, Sony will only do it when they're ready. I mean, I got invited up to Sony the other day, but I ended up not going, just purely for the fact of that they didn't have a massive presence at CES of new devices. Their top of the range TV they've kept as the same this year. They've changed a few of the ones below that, but Sony don't conform to people's wishes, maybe the wrong way of putting it. They'll do it when they're ready. I think they'll do it before E3, because they don't want. But then I don't think they're really, as one of our stories alludes to later on, I don't think it is that, as we said just a minute ago, I don't think that is them and us anymore. It is a we. Gaming has changed a lot since the PS4 and Xbox One came out, and it is a lot more, multi-platform, but everybody playing together. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens and when they do start to throw it out there.
Yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Your next news story, for me, that kind of, I hadn't even dared to hope or dream about that. But Stu, tell us about everybody's favourite Lombax.
Yeah, so another PlayStation story is Ratchet and Clank could be part of the PS5 launch lineup. So it goes
Make
on.
It so.
I can't wait. I'm still so annoyed that I played the last Ratchet and Clank, and I was right at the end, and I stopped playing it for some reason, and I could not get into my PlayStation account, and I lost the save. For some reason, I had to reset something, and I lost the save, and I just went. Right. I'm not going to play it again. I put so much into it. I thought, I'm not playing it again. I'll wait until the next one. So we are hopefully reading on a new Ratchet and Clank game is reportedly in development, potentially as an addition to the PlayStation's 5 launch lineup. According to a former IGN editor, Insomniac have been working on the title for several years already. Speaking on the podcast, Moriarty, that's it. Moriarty said that we're going to get a Ratchet and Clank in between Spider-Man and an also unannounced sequel on the PlayStation 5. Moriarty went on to say, I feel like it's going to be a launch game, the Ratchet and Clank game that's been in long development at Insomniac.
Wow.
I just can't wait. I mean, it's, Insomniac obviously were, it's 4 years since the last Ratchet and Clank, blimey, and long enough since 2018 Spider-Man. So they're ready to launch another one. I can't wait. I just loved my Ratchet and Clank. It's probably the one game I really, really like playing on the PlayStation.
But, the last Ratchet and Clank, which was just Ratchet and Clank, looked amazing on the PS4 Pro. Yeah. Looked absolutely incredible. Ratchet and Clank in this household is a big deal, and also with my nephews as well. My nephew Will, who's now 20, he grew up with Ratchet and Clank. We played all of those games, and it was just absolutely fantastic. So Ratchet and Clank is just a big deal in this house, and it was just like, and to see that there'll be a launch title means that I won't get my hands on the PS5 when it comes out, because Nicola will be like, no, that's mine. But just imagine, kind of, as you've seen throughout the years, have you seen Ratchet and Clank evolve and kind of getting better and better? In the last game, it was almost like Pixar. It was almost like you're playing a Pixar game, but with the power of PlayStation 5 and ray tracing, it's just going to look, it's just going to be so good. That the last one, I thought, I was like, wow, again, it's that thing where you go, it can't get any better than this, but actually to see it on the PlayStation 5, I'm sure they're going to prove me wrong and then some.
I was just thinking, actually, I may well try and play it again, or try and play it again on the PS4 in preparation. But I've got a feeling it might actually be a good game to get Molly into playing a few more games on the consoles. Actually, that might be a bad idea, because then I won't get to play any consoles. But I just really enjoyed the last game. It was just so easy to play. It was just a real nice balance of a bit of technical, gorgeous graphics, and with the power of the PlayStation 5, I think it's just going to look, and especially 4K, beautiful OLED TVs. It's just going to look gorgeous to play. So yeah.
It really does. Playing on the PlayStation 4 Pro, I bought that digitally, so it's always just there. But playing on the PlayStation 4 Pro OLED, it was just like, that was just amazing. That game rocks surround sound. Insomniac know what they're doing. It's quite funny, actually. The other day I was just on Twitter, just like kind of thumbing through Twitter, and someone put a movie, like a little clip that they'd done of Spider-Man, and they basically just had like Spider-Man falling like from a building, and then just suddenly webbing through New York, and I was just like, oh, I just want to play that again. I'm just like, oh, if I get Plague's Tale finished and I'm at a loss this weekend, I'm sure Nicholas going to keep me busy this weekend. But if I'm at a loss this weekend, maybe I'll just fire up the PlayStation 4 and play an Insomniac game.
Yeah.
Like, did you ever play Sunset Overdrive?
No,
on the Xbox?
No, I think it was one of those games which I sort of teetered with. I think I downloaded it, or it was. It might have been a Games for Gold or something like that. I remember playing it, but never really sinking much time into it. But I know there's a lot of people were hoping that they were going to remaster it or something and bring it to PlayStation, I think.
Yeah, I think once that because PlayStation has bought Insomniac now, haven't they? Like, PlayStation Insomniac are now a first-party title for a first-party developer. So yeah, they were hoping that maybe, but I kind of feel that Sunset Overdrive is like a Microsoft IP or something like that. So I think there's that kind of a grey area there. It's kind of, they will probably stop them doing that. But yeah, it would be so good. Oh, I love that game. It's really funny. I really enjoyed Sunset Overdrive, but it never really clicked.
Yeah.
It never really, the whole traversing. I could play Jet Set Radio, until the early hours of the morning and get some really cool combos.
So Jet Set Radio was the one where you used to slide down the rails, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on your skates.
That's it.
But there was something about Sunset Overdrive that I think it might have been skating and shooting at the same time. I just couldn't. It just was too much
flying a plane.
Yeah, exactly. It was just too much for my basic gamer brain. But anyway, next piece of news is with me, and that is that Nvidia's gaming service is now live. So Nvidia, this is from an article at Gizmondo, Nvidia's streaming competitor to Google Stadia and Project xCloud is now available. It launched, I think this was Monday. It launched on Monday, and it is now available to anyone, whether you're playing on a MacBook Air, whether you're playing on a PC, whether you're playing on a Samsung phone. Again, no iOS, come on. But GeForce, the name of this streaming competitor to those guys, is it will let you play pretty much any game, any PC game you want, because GeForce isn't a gaming store. Instead, it looks at all of the gaming stores that you already frequent if you're a PC player. So it's using Steam, Epic, GOG, Blizzard. It's using all of those services, and it will allow you to play and stream those games via Nvidia GeForce. So I think this is absolutely fantastic. So what it is, so you can sign up right now and you can stream, I think it's a maximum of 1080p with 60 frames a second, but you can sign up for an account for free, and then if you go for the free account, you get an hour at a time.
Okay.
So they limit you to just an hour, and you join the queue of other people that are in the free account. You can, however, upgrade your account to a founder's account, which is $5 a month, and that gets you 6 hours of gameplay at any time. And it just kind of gives you priority access as well to that queue that I was talking about. So you could just fire it up and go, right, I want to have an hour of gaming, but you could be in a queue for half an hour while you wait for the servers. And I think by doing this, because it is coming from all of those streaming services, all of those libraries, such as GOG and Steam and Epic, they're expecting that there's going to be quite a big uptake. So by doing that, queue system allows them just to kind of, they don't have, their servers are not going to explode. They can just kind of control who's playing. But like I say, if you get a free account, you can do that for an hour, or you can do a premium one, which is $5, and then you can then get kind of up to 6 hours of gaming time, which I thought was just really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've just clicked on the article now. It did make me laugh, actually, that literally the first advert you see on the article is for Google Stadia.
Right.
So, but no, it allow you to stream games that you may own on multiple platforms.
So you could go and buy a game. So for me, I don't really do PC gaming. I've seen some really good games that are on Steam, on GOG, on Epic, but because I don't really have that kind of PC at home, I don't use it. I don't play it. Even though but now with this, I would be able to go and buy a game on Steam, and then I'll be able to stream it.
Right.
To my MacBook Pro. I'll be able to kind of stream that, so I can just tether my or pair my Xbox controller to my MacBook Pro, and then I'll just be able to play it. I'm assuming further down the line I'll be able to just do that on my iPad or my phone. But right now it's kind of only available to Samsung phones, so to Android phones at the moment. So, but it just means I can go to Epic Store, I can go to GOG, and I can just buy a game, and then I can stream it. And then obviously, if I'm just a free license, I can only kind of get an hour at a time. But then if I was $5, I could then stream for up to 6 hours.
That's a great idea. I mean, bringing it back into my world, I've been installing a system at a client's house called Rune, and it's a similar sort of system, but for music, in respects of, rather than you having to go down the, if you want multi-room audio in your house, if you've got something Sonos, then you have to go, all your other stuff has to be Sonos. Or if you've got something that is, Blue Sound, all your stuff has to be Blue Sound. But you have this service called Rune, and what it does is it can talk to multiple other things. So you can have a music system, say by Meridian, in your lounge, but you could have Sonos elsewhere. But because you use the Rune interface and the Rune app, it doesn't matter what speaker you use it with. You go from using the Rune in your lounge to using the Rune in your bedroom, and it's the same it's the same app, it's the same service, it's using a different speaker. And that I think this is a brilliant idea, just to be able to have. I mean, I've got some games which I purchased off of Steam because I've been playing a few, like Project Cars, I think it was Project Cars 2 and things like that. So I think it's great because, I mean, like yourself, I travel a lot with work, and you do have downtime, or you end up in a hotel staying somewhere. You've generally got your laptop on you, so it'd be great just to open it up and just play some games. I think when Gears was out last year, I was playing Gears on my Omen gaming laptop at in a place in Southampton, a Premier in Southampton. Okay, the game was on the computer, so it was different.
Yeah.
But it was that play anywhere type of thing. So this is almost like taking it to the next level. So that's a really good idea.
Yeah, no, I just think it's really cool because for me, even though I have Game Pass Ultimate kind of unlocks a whole load of PC games that I can't play. And for me, the big one that I really want to play, I know it's coming to console eventually, but not straight away, is Gears Tactics. So I could actually buy Gears Tactics on Steam. Because it's going to be available on Steam as well as like Microsoft Store, because that's where they're putting their titles as well now. I could buy it on Steam, and then I can then just use GeForce to then play it that way. So if I really wanted to kind of get in and just kind of see what it was like, I could go that route, and I could just work out that and do that.
Or you could accidentally drop your work PC in some orange juice and go to Razer and buy a shiny new laptop.
That's it. See, I've got a Surface over there, but that's just not powerful enough just to run it. But what I really want is xCloud on my Surface. What I really want is to be able to kind of play that and do something similar. So this is out now. So GeForce, I think it's been in beta for a while.
Yeah.
But they do say that. They recommend 50 meg download for best experience. They recommend 30 meg download for a 1080p 60 and 15 meg download for 720/60. So which is good. Okay. So and on one of the WhatsApp groups I'm in, one of the guys has already kind of been trying this. Manny's already been kind of giving it a try as well. I think it was one of the chaps, I think it was Daryl, who basically just said, yeah, it seems to be running. He's been running it for a while. It seems to be running okay. It seems to be kind of keeping up. And he also has a Stadia as well, so he's kind of comparing it to that. So he seemed to be pretty impressed with what he's been playing so far.
That sounds like a really good idea, and some good feedback. It'd be interesting to speak to them and see how it goes when they more people play it, and they add, see what the weighting's like on the non-pay for account.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to just, like I say, I don't really have a Steam account or anything, but I'd love to maybe kind of like create a Steam account. You can probably download some free games on Steam, then do an Nvidia and see just kind of how it runs on my MacBook Pro. So maybe I'll do that over the weekend and just kind of see, have a bit of a play. But this came out on Monday, so that is now available right now. So that's Nvidia GeForce. Stu, the next piece of news is with you.
Yeah, the next bit of news was a really interesting story I found, which was a new Xbox adapter lets people turn their powered wheelchairs into game controllers. Which sort of grabbed my attention. That I'm like, how? Are they on a treadmill? But
what?
Yeah. So I started reading on. So the Xbox Adaptive Controller already expands the usability of the Xbox for gamers with disabilities, and today a third-party add-on takes the controller to the next level, allowing gamers to turn their powered wheelchairs into games controllers. Called the Freedom Wing adapter, the box connects to the adaptive controller to the wheelchair through its 9-pin port. This means the joystick that controls the wheelchair for everyday use can be turned into a controller, which is particularly useful for people who already use their joysticks and buttons on their wheelchair. Charity organisation Able Gamers created the device alongside AT Makers, a group of tech makers enthusiasts whose focus is on. Can't see that word. Sorry. The Freedom Wing adapter is being given out through Able Gamers, and people can apply for a grant for one of the Able Gamers websites. They're gonna sell it for about $7, but apparently you can make one for $35. But I just thought it was great. I mean, this was on The Verge, so there's a longer article, and there looks like it's a nice little YouTube video as well. But I just love it. I mean, again, it's just looking at Able Gamers I've come across, because I think they speak to some of the people on Able Gamers on Games Daily. I think it is Greg Miller speaks to them. So yeah. I've heard long now. I've always been supportive of the stuff they do, and massively appreciate with Xbox doing the adaptive controller. But it just warmed my heart. This article. It's just the many more gamers with disabilities have been able to play. And something like this, is just brilliant.
Oh, absolutely. I think it kind of it broke my eyes last year when they had the Super Bowl ad where they kind of had that adaptive control, and just being able to kind of, someone who would probably feel excluded from society then can actually just kind of jump in and start playing, and playing well as well, which Steve from Able Gamers kind of shows all the time. He's always in there, and it's just great to see this, and the more, and this again is kind of what James is all about, with the charity that he's now an ambassador for, with Special Effect. It's all about that. It's all about enabling kind of people that maybe can't get there and can't, the physical disabilities that they have. We're going to stop some gaming, and that we're kind of knocking down that barrier now, and it just is. It's gorgeous. It's just so lovely.
I think wasn't there was a nice. Because I think I went and watched it was the Game Awards, I think, and I watched the Game Awards because I didn't watch it live, and there was a nice little bit before. I think it wasn't. It was XO19, I think. There was a nice little bit before XO19 about the adaptive controller, and it was about this guy who had built this, rig that sits around him, and with the adaptive controller, it made it a lot more streamlined, and just being able to just play and just be creative and just add things and custom things to their disability. I think it's a great little story. it'd be great for people to go and read it and get involved with more stuff like this.
Excellent stuff. And I'm going to stay with Xbox for the next piece of news, and that is that Xbox Game Pass Quests has got a bit of a revamp today. So they actually launched not a bit of a revamp, it's actually a massive update to Game Pass Quests. Now, interestingly, I think this went into kind of beta over Christmas because they were doing it over Christmas for a while, then they took them away. But what it is that they basically just have lots more quests now. So there's up to about 90 more quests. So what they've done is they've changed ways that you can now earn points. So they've kind of split it into the kind of daily, weekly and monthly. And for anyone who doesn't know what Xbox Quest is, Xbox Quest is there's an app on your Xbox Dash that you'll be able to download and access, and this just kind of basically gets you in to Xbox Quest, allowing you to game and build Microsoft points. When you get to 5,000 Microsoft points, you can then exchange that for £5 credit on the Xbox Store, for Starbucks vouchers, for more Game Pass if you want. You can then just kind of convert that into that. But so what they've done is they've now made it, Xbox have done is they've now made it kind of even more possible to kind of even earn even more points every month. So you can download the Xbox Game Pass mobile app from Android and iOS stores, and then you can then see kind of what quests are available, what ones you're working towards, because it also tracks if you're kind of working, because some of them could be multiple quests, like you have to get 3 achievements in a Game Pass games and things like that, so you can see where you're tracking. So as I was saying, they've broken them into daily, weekly and monthly. So right now we've got 15 points for playing a Game Pass game on your console, so you get 15 Microsoft points for that. Your mobile app, by logging into the mobile app every day, you get 15 points. So they kind of got that rolling 30 points every day. And then you've got weekly ones, so you can then earn 50 points by earning an achievement in any Game Pass game. And then they've also this week they've got Payday 2, and you've got to complete 3 heists in Payday, and you get 75 points. And then they have monthly, so there's 1,000 points by completing 45 quests, daily quests, and 15 weekly quests. You get 1,000 points, and then there's also 100 points for stealing 35 cars in Grand Theft Auto. So that's just this month. I really enjoy quests.
Oh yes, same here.
When quests drop at the start of a month, I kind of have a look at those games, and I'm just like, I'm going to try that game, and it makes me try that game, and even if I just download it, get my quest, and then uninstall it. It doesn't really matter, but it's just kind of like sometimes there's I quite like this game. I think Riverbond, Riverbond was one that kind of I was like, okay, I'll give this a go because there was an Xbox Quest, and I ended up really enjoying it. Kind of really enjoying and playing a lot more of that game. So if you're on Xbox Game Pass, if you're on Xbox, check out their quests because you could just be kind of gaming for cash.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the app now, and because I think Rage 2 was one of the ones I did over Christmas, was do 3 achievements in Rage 2 or something like that. But I haven't spent any of mine, and I've got 56,000, just over 56,000 points now.
Wow.
So yeah, as you say, you can convert that, because I know you've mentioned it before, you can convert that into Xbox game cards, cash. That sits on your account, so when a game comes out, you can quest away all year, build up your money, and then when the new Call of Duty or whatever comes out later this year, you can get 20, 30, 40, or in my case, quite a bit of money off of it. So, and a little bit like Game Pass in general, it does make you play things that you wouldn't normally play. The only one I didn't get on was Subnautica. That just confused me, that game.
Yes.
But no, it's great. It's just free cash, and you get to experience some more games. So yeah, really good idea.
Actually, speaking of Game Pass and new games, they announced today that tomorrow we're getting a couple of new games. So we're getting Wolfenstein Youngblood, which was the kind of breakaway from Wolfenstein, where you played the 2 daughters of whatever his name, Blazkowicz or whatever his name is. And we're also getting Final Fantasy 15 as well. It's coming to console and PC. Now, I jumped into that. I think I might have boomeranged it. Jumped into it, played the first bit. enjoyed it. I think at the same time that kind of Daz was kind of big into kind of Final Fantasy, and I think something else came on, distracted me, and I sent my Final Fantasy disc back to Boomerang. But now we're kind of getting it on Game Pass. I'm thinking about kind of jumping back in, and I know Steve, when I mentioned it on our in our group chat, I know Steve was like, "Oh, I'm going to jump into that." So it's like, having Final Fantasy, especially now because it's probably been patched, fixed, it's probably working really well. It's got lots of additional content. So that's two. By the time you're listening to this pod, both Wolfenstein Youngblood and also Final Fantasy 15 will be available on Game Pass. But a big one for me, and I was incredibly close to buying it at the weekend. I was like, I'll just add that. I'll buy that now, which is 2 Point Hospital. So 2 Point Hospital is coming to Game Pass. I think we may have mentioned that in the pod, because when you look at the trailer for 2 Point Hospital, at the end it shows PlayStation 4, Switch, and in the middle it's got a Game Pass logo.
Yeah.
So there was always that kind of, but I think it was like about £25-26. But no need now. It's coming to Game Pass. So 2 Point Hospital, which has been built up from the ground up for consoles. So there's a new trailer out. I'll put a link in the show notes. And it's really funny. They're like, but what about mouse and keyboard? Flashes up on the screen. They're like, you don't have to worry about that. We've remapped the controls for console. So they've either simplified or kind of made it kind of more easier, more accessible for a console controller. And that is coming day and date on the 25th of February. So that will just be available. And that's, I think it's Sega who published that. But the team behind 2 Point Hospital are like Bullfrog and Lionhead. So I think it's Theme Hospital developers and Fable developers kind of got together and they created 2 Point Hospital, and it just looks, it's one of those ones where I've almost kind of created a Steam account just so I can buy this and play it on a PC, but I can't wait for this. This looks really good.
Yeah, no, it's 30 on the bottom of Microsoft's page that you've put this from. It's got Sega Europe Limited. It's $39.99. But
wow.
No, I mean, I just having a look. I want to click the link at the top, but I'm not, because it'll probably drown us out in audio. But looking at the stills, it does actually. It's the first time I've really looked at it. Although we've talked about it a couple of times, it's the first time I've really sort of looked at it. It does look like a fun little game, doesn't it? It's
it looks absolutely bonkers. It looks like you're going to have it's going to be kind of a bit of a kind of building. You know, if you've played any of those like Theme Hospital or Theme Park, you've got all of those requirements that are going to come in where you've got to kind of build and kind of adapt to that. So this is just going to be so much fun.
I can sense lots of shouting and why is this patient dying, or why is this MRI machine not working properly in your house? So as it all starts off very. I mean, I can't think of the name of that game now, the prison game that I was playing, where it all starts off nicely, and then all of a sudden it's sort of like the prisoners are rioting. They've started fires, and you're just trying to extend the canteen because they wanted more food, and then it just comes up and it's like your prison is now condemned, and it's like, no, it's taken me 45 minutes. They've shut my prison. But it looks like a cool little game. And coming to Game Pass, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and also while we're talking about kind of cool games like this, it's worthwhile noting that one of the standouts for us at CEX this year was Moving Out.
Oh, yeah.
And Moving Out has now got a release date. So Moving Out, which is going to be the next kind of overcooked or tools up style fun, where you have to kind of just get all that furniture out of apartment buildings and houses, is coming to Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One and PC on the 28th of April. So they have Twitter, which is @MovingOutGame. So like I say, we played that at CEX, didn't we, in the summer, and we absolutely just loved it.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a great game.
It was brilliant. And do you want someone to look after your house for the next 2 weeks while you're away? Because I so want to put some type of webcam in your movie room, because especially with this game, I can just hear the shouting. Nicola, no, pick it up, move it left, because it was a case that when we were playing it last year, it was you could drag the fridge on your own, and it would personally possible to drag said fridge on your own, but when the other person picked it up, it was so much easier. But it was hilarious. It was so hilarious where you're both having to, no, I'm going through the door first. So So
it was good fun. It was
so
good fun.
Imagine that in the Chesson household.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of. I mean, we played the spring update for Overcooked. Actually, that's what I've been playing. I also played the spring update for Overcooked, which was the Chinese New Year, and that was good. We managed to get through that with I only got kind of warned. I got reprimanded once because I moved a wok off a heat, but I got reprimanded once. But we managed to kind of we aced all of the levels, 3 stars, and then obviously Nicola just then went, okay, you can go now, bye, and then I logged off the Xbox, and she just then got 4 stars on all of them. But yeah, so it was just that's another one that I've been playing. So jumping right back to it.
How long has Overcooked been out for now? Overcooked 2.
Overcooked 2 must be, well, this is the second kind of Chinese New Year, so it's probably at least been a year. So it's been a year, so probably even longer. It's probably been about 18 months it's been out.
It's good. I mean, it's good that they haven't just done a 12-month release content, boom, done. Or so it's great because they do seem to be pushing it, and I think generally more and more with games now. Going back to my Christmas game with Battlefront, That was just a classic example where I hadn't played it for a while, and then it was like turned it on. I'd paid for it, turned it on, and all of a sudden you just got a whole new game to play. It's like I've not played this level, I've not played this level, I've not played with this hero, so it's just great. So I think people out there, if you've got games in your collections that you haven't been onto because you think you might have milked it right to the end, it's sometimes worth just chucking it back in there and having a look because there's DLC you could have missed. There's some great updates.
Absolutely. I mean, Overcooked 2 came out in August 2018, and since its launch, it has 4 paid DLCs, which was Surf and Turf, Campfire Cook-Off, Night of the Hangry Horde, and Carnival of Chaos, and also 4 free, which was Kevin's Christmas Cracker, Chinese New Year, Winter Wonderland, and Spring Festival.
Wow. That's awesome.
So it's had 8 additional add-ons to the base game, and the base game was chunky enough, and that is some kind of 35 47 there's 50 levels just in the paid, and 23 in that, so they've added kind of over 70 levels to that game since it's come out.
And Nicola's 4-starred all of those, is she?
She's 4-starred every single level, including the Kevin's in solo. No, I haven't got a single 4-star because I think I cried. But anyway, right, the last piece of news, Stu, is with you.
So they're going back over to Microsoft. Microsoft Xbox boss says Amazon and Google are main competitors going forward. Sony and Nintendo aren't the main competitor in the cloud world. Microsoft, not on the physical console. Microsoft's head of gaming and Xbox, Phil Spencer, has revealed that the company sees Amazon and Google as its main competitor for the future. Speaking in an interview with the newly launched technology publication Protocol, Spencer dismisses Sony and Nintendo's ability to create a cloud infrastructure that will challenge Microsoft, Google, or Amazon. When you speak about Nintendo and Sony, we have a ton of respect for them, but we see that Amazon and Google are the main competitors going forward, says Spencer. That's not to disrespect Nintendo or Sony in any way, but the traditional gaming companies are somewhat out of position. I guess you could try and recreate Azure, but we've invested tens of billions in dollars into the cloud service over the years. Microsoft has been realigning its gaming efforts for the future beyond the gaming console. The software giant's big efforts now involves reaching billions of players around the world with its gaming cloud service, xCloud, blah blah blah. It goes on and goes on. So yeah, I mean, I thought that was quite interesting in respects of. I mean, you can see why, because you've obviously got AWS, isn't it? Amazon Web Services, their clouds, and then you've got Google have obviously got their computing power there. And I think we mentioned last week about Google getting involved with esports more, and actually basically because they can run the servers to run the games and then also use YouTube to show the esports footage. So yeah, I can see that. I can see exactly where Microsoft are coming from. So, but it
yes.
does just show you that, the big boys, the Google and the Amazons, as well as Microsoft, are looking at gaming not so much in the box under the counter anymore. And with 5G and faster broadbands coming, it's not going to be that box. It's going to be that. It's what we said a lot, which is it's going to be that phone in your pocket, that tablet in your pocket, or that laptop was sitting in front of you on your desk.
No, absolutely. That's really interesting. When did Phil say that? Was that in an interview, in like a recent interview?
Because this is on The Verge, and it says this went up today. For 8:45 Eastern.
Oh, right. Because I know Phil was on a podcast that I haven't listened to yet, and I saw that there was they somehow managed to get an interview with Phil, and I was like, oh, right, I've kind of bookmarked that, and I just wondered if that podcast was live, because I just enjoy listening to Phil Spencer talk.
He's brilliant.
I want to. He could read their calorie count on a special K box, and I would just be enthralled. So he's just such a dude. Superb. That's really cool. I mean, it's just I mean, like I say, it is just the next gen. There's just so many facets to the next generation. It is cloud gaming. It is new impressive hardware. There's just it's multi-dimensional that I just can't wait just to kind of drink up all that information and just kind of then start playing as well eventually.
I think the thing is, that we're saying about the traditional gaming. I mean, if just actually just reading on this article a bit more, it goes, Spencer has previously discussed the threat of Amazon and Google as competitors, but not in such clear terms. He has also previously stated that Microsoft's gaming business isn't how many consoles we sell, and he acknowledges that further by notice that Microsoft isn't interested in getting into the future format war with Nintendo and Sony. He says, I don't want to be in a fight over format wars with those guys while Amazon and Google are focusing on getting gaming to 7 billion people in the world. That's Absolutely. What it is. It's getting game. Everybody's got a device in their pocket now. It's getting gaming onto that device. That's the future. And, sell 100 million consoles, brilliant, but there's 7 billion people in this world.
Wasn't it a couple of weeks ago where Microsoft announced that Korea was like a big
xCloud.
A big uptake in xCloud. So that's kind of, they're seeing those numbers, aren't they? And then they're just looking, actually, do you know what? That 100 million consoles that Sony's got, that's nothing compared to the numbers that we're kind of getting right now in an interest in xCloud. Because in order to play xCloud, you're going to need to have your, going to need to have a Game Pass. You're going to need to kind of have that, and so to play those games.
And I think that's it. It's that service based. It's what Amazon, it's what Google will go after. It's that monthly recurring revenue. It doesn't matter what business you're in. Monthly recurring revenue is the child. It's the one.
Yes.
Going back to what I said earlier about the service Rune. They will charge a lifetime subscription fee of £600 for the app. But they'll charge you £100 a year. So they want you to do it yearly. So you're paying with Microsoft, with Game Pass Ultimate, you're paying that, whatever it is, just comes out of my account, £15 I think it is. So you're paying for your Game Pass, you're paying for your Xbox Live, you're paying for everything, and that keeps their money coming in, and you have that in 200 million households because someone's got it on xCloud. That's a hell of a lot more money in revenue over 5 years than a games console will get.
Absolutely, and it amazes me when you look at all these streaming services, how many they do have on there. Like Disney Plus announced this week, that they have 28 million subscribers, and 28 million subscribers paying, $5.99 a month. That's
only
a lot
in
of money.
Limited countries at the moment, isn't it?
Right, that's about it for this episode. Huge thank you for listening. Don't forget, we're away for a couple of weeks, but we will be back on the 24th, the week commencing the 24th. We will be back. Don't forget, you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook and on Twitter. We're at Lost Spark Pod. Stu, where can people catch up with you, sir?
You can find me generally on Xbox and sometime on PSN as General Letdown, and you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram as Mr. Stuart Burgess.
Wonderful. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch, PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamerslostpark.com. Stu, thanks again for pulling up a mic. It's time to say goodbye.
Anytime, my friend. Goodbye and enjoy your holiday, young man.
Bye.